you all and thank you for attending the Poway Unified School District College and Career Showcase. My name is Tish Bates and I'm one of the counselors at Rancho Bernardo High School. I will be your host for this evening. I want a few housekeeping issues to remind you all to keep yourselves muted unless you are asked to otherwise unmute yourself during the presentation. And I want to make sure everyone is aware of this will be recorded so that we can show it to families who are not able to be here this evening. Please feel free to use the chat and we can moderate that as well. And I want to welcome first of all, our student CTE ambassadors, both Victoria and Beth. Thank you so much for being here this evening and being leaders in Poway Unified. And welcome our two presenters. We have Gary and Andreen. Take it away.
All right. Well, again, thanks Poway family, students, parents for being here. The district for asking us to present and talk about going to college, changes. And so we try and make this fun tonight. I know it's late in the evening. I'm going to introduce myself in a second, but I'm going to turn it over to my co-presenter. She wanted to call this Beauty and the Beast, and I said, fine by me. Adrian, go for it.
Oh, it's hard to follow that, but good night. Hi, everybody. My name is Adrian Loveland. I'm with the University of Wyoming, and I am located in Denver, Colorado.
And this is me, Gary B. I work for the University of New Mexico, but not at the University of New Mexico. And just like Adrian, we both work off campus. They can't stand on campus. No, that's not true. They love us because we get a lot of students. And we're going to talk about a program that helps us get a lot of students. Families, right now, you're probably stressing a little bit about the college search. Some of you probably stressing a lot of bit. Well, tonight we're going to go from stress to success. It takes two things: ask questions, follow directions. Right now, I know somebody at home is raising their hand saying, what are the questions and who do we ask? And I say, those are two great questions. We're going to tell you what questions to ask and also who to ask. And it sounds so easy. Ask questions, follow directions. Write that down, take it to heart. Every college has an admissions office. So Adrian and me, Gary B., we're admission counselors. We don't work for the Office of Rejection. Our job's to help you get admitted. Your job is to ask questions, follow directions, connect with us. You can reach out to us through email, text, call. Just don't lose touch. You can go to this website, regionaladmissions.com. There's 120 colleges that out of state from California that have provided the resources and hired admission counselors to work with California students. And I'll explain why in just a second. Seniors, it's not a matter of if or when, just where. By this time next year, you're done. No matter what school you're at, you're moved on. You've gone from being a senior, you get to be a freshman again. And juniors in June, you're seniors. So thanks for being here and participating. Some of you may transfer, which is great. Some of you may stay close to home, but we're going to talk about a program that gets you not right in your home state, but away just a little bit. There's 3,600 choices in the U.S. We're going to focus on the Western U.S. today. And you can see those states, Wyoming, New Mexico, and a handful of others. And we're going to talk about what options there are for you in those states and how to pay for it. Look, we love California. I live in Ventura, and I've been in California just 40 years. And here's why people love California. Beauties, Bay Area, Beverly Hills, beaches, boys, Beyonce, Bieber. Everything starts with a B and beautiful traffic. I think we all know what freeway that is. All of them, too much of the time. No, it's actually the 405. And you're saying, you're kidding me, Gary B. Nope, the 405. And I figured out why it was called the 405 because I was usually going 4 or 5 miles an hour for 4 or 5 hours with 405 of my best friends. And here's some of those best friends. Let's think about higher ed in California. There are 500,000 high school seniors in California this year, next year, the following year. 500,000 high school seniors. Impossible. There's 40 million people that live in our state. So those 500,000 high school seniors Where are they going to go to college? Well, some of them won't, but many will. Here's the options. We've got 116 community colleges, 23 Cal States, just 9 UCs, and about 75 independent or privates. So we've got over 100 two-year schools and 100 four-year schools for 500,000 high school seniors every year. And so you're thinking, out of state could be great, don't hesitate. But whoa, slow the roll because it's going to cost a lot of dough to go. No, not really. Private schools don't charge an in-state or out-of-state tuition. Yeah, private schools do have tuition. And then there are public schools. And how will you know whether a school's public or private? We'll simply ask. If it has University of in the state's name, University of Wyoming, University of New Mexico, well, we're big publics. We're the flagship in our states, which means we've got the resources to help students do research. But let's talk WUE and explain what that is. WUE, higher ed, lower cost, everybody's dream come true. Well, guess what? It's pronounced WUE, so don't say woo or whoa or what, WUE, okay? And what the WUE is tuition reduction, period, end of story. So you're saying, that's great, tell me more. No one ever comes to us, hey, Adrian, can I pay full price at Wyoming? Gary B, can I send more money than I want to? No, tuition reduction is what we're all about. Everybody's trying to pay less. And we know it costs a lot. How can we reduce that cost? Well, guess what? WUE schools, and there's a lot of us, you're a resident in your home states. We're all residents of California. You leave, you're a non-resident, but there is a special rate called the WUE tuition rate. So ask the public schools in the West, do you have the WUE tuition rate and what's it take to get it? You're a resident in California. You leave, you're a non-resident. You can go to a neighboring state. So I like to equate the Western Undergraduate Exchange program to what I call the good neighbor policy. The neighboring states to California are looking for students. And here's how we look, by offering substantial discount on tuition. In our home state, if you went to Cal State, it'd be about $6,000. If I came from out of state, it'd be about 23. But if I was able to get the WUE tuition, it'd be 150% up to, it could be lateral or lower than that 9,000. And so again, these are just an example. You can go out of state, University of New Mexico, University of Wyoming. There's resident tuition, non-resident tuition, and WUE tuition. We're going to each tell you how it works at our schools in just a little bit, but then you can also get FAFSA, which is a free application for federal, state, and institutional need-based aid. You can get merit scholarship, which will also bring down the total cost. So big money to help you go to college. The tuition rate that you get using the WUE is substantially discounted off the non-resident. Never ask, what's the tuition and fees? Ask, how much will I pay? What's the COA? Okay. Now, every school has tuition and fees. WUE schools have a WUE tuition. The WUE tuition will not affect the housing and dining, right? And those are direct costs. When your student lives on campus, they're paying for housing and dining to the college, tuition and fees to the college. But outside costs, what are some of the outside costs? Books and supplies, transportation, right? If you were going to fly to Laramie or fly to Albuquerque, you're not paying the university. And then of course, the last big cost, Jamba Juice, Starbucks, pizza, popcorn, all that fun. And if we added it up, in California, a Cal State University to live on campus is about $25,000 per year times 4 years. That's $100K. What do you say? And the UCs, do you see yourself going to a UC? It's $35,000 per year times 4. Out of state, our cost before WUE is about lateral to a UC. And I know you're thinking, OMG, oh my Gary B, that's crazy. That's so much dough. I don't know if I can afford to go. Well, if you're thinking Ivy League, that's definitely expensive. Your dad's praying the money's going to fall through the sky. It won't, but we're going to talk WUE. And Adrian's going to explain WUE. I've given you some inside information. Adrian, take it from here. Tell them the history, why there is WUE and how it works.
I wish I had a booming voice so I could do the history and take you back in time, but you get me. And why WUE became WUE is, as you can see, here's all the colleges and universities located in the United States. And if you look at this map, it's very eye-opening where all the colleges are, mostly on the East Coast. So, of course, they decided, you know, we need to think of a program that can help our Western students. So in 1953, the WICHE, we love a good acronym in admissions, Western Interstate Commission for Higher Education, started to get together and looked at a program and tried to decide on what they would like to do for these Western students. So WICHE, it's these 15 states and one US territory. So when you're thinking to yourself, where do we go with these Western states? These are the states that participate and fall under that WICHE, which is the governing body of these states of the tuition reduction program. They looked at this, and as you can see with California, look at where all these students are going. Gary was talking about, you know, all these students, where are they headed? Well, as you can see, here's kind of some distribution of where they're headed. And so what they decided was, you know what, a great thing to do would be some way to get that tuition down. So there's a dangling carrot and motivation and an affordability piece for these students to go out of state, but also in the same breath, helping support those Western schools. So in 1987, they started a program called Woohoo for WUE, Western Undergraduate Exchange. They decided, like we were talking about, that it would be 150% of that state's in-state tuition rate. They decided on the states. They did not require each school in that state to participate in it, but it was an option for them. So one of the things with it is, you know, there's a lot of schools that do participate in it. So looking at the positive, it can be 2 year or 4 years. A lot of 4-year schools have it, but not every school has to do it, like I said. So if they do not, that's okay. Some of those schools will have other scholarship programs, but the participating schools, they have to offer that 150% rate. Now, a good example is how things can change. You know, sometimes schools start in the program, leave it for a while and come back. But Oregon is a great example of this. They have several schools that do participate in it, which are these 5 schools. They all may have different recommendations on how you get it, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. But you see a couple of schools that are missing from this list. And one of them would be Oregon State. They were with the WUE program for a while, left it, and started coming back just this year. And University of Oregon, they had it, but it was really difficult to get. They only offered about 25. They actually said, you know, you're better off looking at other scholarships than WUE. And so now they've left. Don't panic though. If a school is going to leave the WUE program, they're going to be pretty transparent with you. It's not going to be a surprise, because that's not a fun one. So you might start having some questions on this and thinking, how do I get WUE? If everybody's a little different, what do I need to do? You need to know that ahead of the time. How Gary was talking about, ask questions, follow directions. Know ahead of time that it's not a cookie cutter kind of participation. We all have our own set rules. And Gary and I are going to talk about our schools, but it's ask right away. If they're a WUE school, how do I get it? How do I keep it? And what do I need to do about getting that scholarship? Because it is important. And we as an institution are going to be very, very transparent with you. So how they can set their own criteria. There is no governing body that says you will do X, Y, and Z. So again, a good question to ask on what you need to do on that piece. So you got to be admitted to the school. That's a big piece. Obviously, we're not just going to give the WUE to anybody. So get admitted to the school, meet the qualifications, and apply for the WUE if necessary. Sometimes you don't even have to do that. It's an all-in-one package deal. So on the next slide, if you are considered a resident of that state, you cannot be a WUE kid. You have to be from one of those states going to another WUE state. You cannot use the WUE tuition rate to become a resident of that state. If you do become a resident of that state, you are no longer eligible for WUE, as it is for out-of-state students only. And you also, there can be some academic requirements. You may need a GPA. Some schools will require an ACT or SAT, or they may require all of them. We will, and I love that this is on here, pro tip, always ask the admissions counselor. We're fun, we're happy to talk to you, we want to talk to you about the process, and we really want to make sure it's not a stress, we want it to be a success. So the other thing too is with it is it may not be offered automatically or awarded to all eligible candidates. I kind of mentioned this with University of Oregon. They may have a cap. They may only offer so many WUE scholarships, but again, this is a transparent thing that we will give you, so it's not a surprise. It may be a first come, first serve for the first 150 students. So you want to apply early. Financially, you can be based off of financial income, but always check and see if you need to submit the FAFSA. It's a really important piece. And this is the time of year you'll be submitting it if you're a junior, senior, or sophomore. Seniors, you're starting to fill this form out. Okay, so what you might hear about degree programs, or hey, we offer it for every program except for this. So there may be some what they call major exclusions. So they may say we offer it for all degree programs except nursing and pharmacy. So if you're a nursing student and you're going to this school, you might not be eligible for WUE, but you might be eligible for other scholarships. So make sure you ask that question and make sure you know that ahead of time, because you don't want to base your plans on something that you cannot get due to your major. And that's not everywhere, but ask. The WUE is good for 4 years. That is it. And it is only good during the academic year. You cannot use it during summer school. Some schools will have a WUE transfer program, but that again, like just WUE, will be different at every institution and may or may not be an option. So you want to ask if you're going to transfer from institution to institution. And then participating schools, like I said, each college and university will set their own qualifications to get that WUE. We can't harp on that enough because we really are very unique and very different. Some, if you apply, you get it. Some you need that GPA. Some you might have to write an essay for. Some you can have it if you're a geostructural engineer and you can't get it till your junior year. So you can see in just those few examples, which are all real school examples, we are different. Ask and ask more questions. We love the questions, especially with WUE. Okay, so this is a fantastic website that you can utilize. It will be a great thing, but always, websites, bless them, they're not always updated constantly. So if you see something on there, make sure you just double check with the institution. There's a school on there that used to not offer it to business students, but now they do, and it has not been updated this fall. So, talk to the admissions counselor, just confirm things on there, and we will also do that as well. We don't want any surprises. Again, that pro tip, keep asking us, talk to us. We're going to force you to talk to us no matter what. So WUE, the Western Undergraduate Exchange, or We Underwrite Education, your affordable ticket to going out of state school out west. West is the best, as Gary B would say. So, and then we kind of want to
talk about the University of Wyoming and how the WUE works for you guys, and tell the audience just a few minutes about that, and then I'll talk New Mexico, and we'll still have time. That's how we'll play.
I love it. Perfect. Thanks, Gary. So a little bit about the University of Wyoming. We are located in Laramie, Wyoming, which is in the southeast corner of the state. We're about 2.5 hours north of Denver, 15 minutes north of Fort Collins, Colorado. We offer over 200 different areas of study, everything from accounting to zoology. Big programs with us are our engineering program, education, business, nursing. We have a direct entry program, and our environmental and natural resources. We have a little less than 12,000 students, so we're considered middle size, which we love. It's a perfect size for Laramie, and we are that quintessential college town. If Wikipedia had a picture of college town, it should be Laramie, Wyoming, as we are a unicorn. We are the only four-year institution in the state of Wyoming. It is us and 7 community colleges. So we're very well supported by the state. So there's a lot of love and loyalty for the brown and gold. This weekend's homecoming, we're playing Gary B's and Lobos, and it's already pretty exciting as people are already showing up and starting to tailgate because it's going to be a big game. 86% of our students last year in a pandemic had jobs or were in grad school 6 months within graduation. So we're extremely proud of them. So not only are they getting a great education, they are very marketable and industry is looking for our fantastic kids. So on the next slide, we are also a very outdoors school. We are in between 2 mountain ranges. So we have rock climbing, mountain biking, hiking, about 15 minutes east of campus and about 35 minutes with red lights west of campus. You're going to find this. Lots of fresh powder, lots of ski lifts, and a lot of fun. So even though if you're not a huge outdoor person, you can still be successful at Wyoming, but your college adventure is an adventure for a reason. So give it a try because it is really fun, especially in Laramie. We are a moderately selective institution. We look for a 3.0 in our high school success curriculum, which is 4 years of math, science, and English and electives, and 3 years of social sciences. If you have a 3.0 with that, congratulations. Welcome to UW. Woohoo! We are on the Common App or our own regular application, as well as a rolling admission. So we are continuously accepting applications through May 1. For a complete application, we need your app, your transcript, and a $40 application fee. So that means no letters of rec or an essay. So speaking of the WUE, how it works with us, once you apply for admission, you are applying for the WUE and our Brown and Gold scholarship. We have a test optional piece for the Brown and Gold. For the WUE, which is in this top gold bracket, you do need a test score. But all of these are stackable with other scholarships as well as financial aid that you may receive from the FAFSA. So if you have questions, pro tip, ask us. We're happy to help. We'd love to see you out on campus and love to see you in Laramie. And on the next slide is all my contact information, so don't ever hesitate to reach out. And with that, I'll say go Pokes, and I'm going to turn it over to Gary, who's going to talk about New Mexico.
Well, fantastic, great information about a great institution. I'm going to talk about where I went to college, the University of New Mexico, and I graduated. I started in 1974 as a student. I told a group that I graduated last century, and one of the students said 100 years ago. Not quite, almost. Some days it feels like it. But I always ask, what do you know about the University of New Mexico? And I always hear UNM. Unfortunately, not much. So what I want you to remember is 3 things tonight. Mountains, majors, money. And that's right, UNM, University next to mountains. We're in the Rockies. So you'll be leaving Southern California and going to Albuquerque, or as I like to say, UNM, University not close to mom. When you hear Albuquerque, New Mexico, you probably either thought High School Musical, Breaking Bad, or the desert, flat and hot. We're not. Being the same elevation as Denver, you're probably thinking UNM, University nearly a mile high. I wonder if they get snow. Oh yeah, we get snow. UNM means usually not much, but how much snow in San Diego? -3, no snow. You like snow? New Mexico, we get snow. There you go. And there is a ski resort 20 minutes from campus. So let's talk majors. UNM, University of Numerous Majors. Many students are into health sciences, and I say perfect, UNM, University for Nursing and Medicine. We do have pre-med and medical school, the largest hospital in the state. We've got everything in the pharmacy, athletic training, exercise science, doctor in physical therapy, kinesiology. Maybe you're into being a business person, and just remember UNM, University with a number of management programs, entrepreneurial, human resources, accounting, finance, organizational leadership. Maybe you're into engineering, UNM, University from nuclear to mechanical, civil, comp sci, chemical, electrical, everything in the engineering world. Maybe you're a filmmaker, New Mexico, Netflix is headquartered in Albuquerque. And so now you're thinking, wow, UNM, University for Netflix Movies, one of our partners. Some of you may not know exactly what you want to study, which is perfect, because we always say UNM, undecided no more, come explore, options galore, we'll open the door to something, help you look what you're looking for. We are D1, we're going to have a lot of D1 fun. We are playing the Pokes this weekend. I hope they don't poke us too hard. We'll see how that goes. Housing, UNM, University Nice as a Marriott. Yep, one of my business sponsors. Hey, talk about dining, UNM, unlimited number of meals, one plan, one price. That's nice. Every student tells me, UNM, you need money, we've got scholarship. 2.8's great, 3.0, more dough to help you go. The minute you apply for admission, you've applied for scholarship. The WUE tuition, we consider it a scholarship because you have to have at least a 2.8. Higher GPA, more dough. There you go. And there's no separate application. Seniors, you can apply anytime. Juniors cannot apply quite yet, but in June, you're seniors. We don't require the ACT, SAT test. We don't require an essay or personal statement. Students, when you apply to a college, you have just said, I want to go there. We're going to help you get admitted. You're going to self-report your courses and self-report your unweighted GPA. 2 weeks from the time you apply, you're admitted, not committed. Admitted means you don't have to decide UNM until next May. Apply today, decide next May. That's the way to play, I say. Wouldn't it be nice to apply this evening? You email me, Gary B. You're going to click pay by mail. I'll waive the fee, make it free. Takes 20 minutes. And then you've got an option. So here's the dough to help you go. Students with a 2.8, your tuition and fees is $13K. 3.0, you're lateral to a resident of New Mexico, $9,000. Housing and dining, 10. Books and supplies, $1,000. The whole enchilada, sorry, I'm from New Mexico, for a 3.0 student is $20,000. And this renews every year. Let's just cut to the chase. Seniors, you can apply now. I'll tell you how. Juniors in June, it's not too soon. Seniors today, juniors at the end of May. Then email me, Gary B. I'll waive the fee and make it free. You'll enter your courses. You'll put in your grades. I don't need an ACT, SAT test, and I'll do the rest. Don't be a fool. Stay in school. It's cool. Go to college. Get the knowledge. Gary B., remember me when you're making that list. UNM, University not to be missed. And just for Tish, I have to dab out. Perfect. Gary B., remember me. We'll stop it right here. And remember, higher ed, lower cost, ask questions, follow directions. So you've got our contact information, but now's the time for Q&A. What do you say? Wow, look at all these people. Woohoo! I love it. All right, so chat in those questions. We'll take them. Perfect. Yeah, if you've got questions about college in general, the WUE, which colleges offer it, we certainly can help. We've got a few more minutes. Adrian, any tips you want to give these folks? They came to hear the Adrian and Gary B show. Headline.
Well, we're so appreciative of your time and thank you for sharing your valuable time with us. And we did just get a question, Gary, about any Arizona colleges offering WUE. And yes, multiple Arizona schools offer the WUE. You want to just touch base with each of the schools that you're looking at on how it is awarded, kind of like we mentioned, because in Arizona, there are some different programs and some different things. University of Arizona, it's a different beast than anybody else, but Northern Arizona, it's pretty simple to get. So just make sure you do your research, but yes, they are a part of it and they participate.
So I put in a website that families can go to. Students can check regionaladmissions.com. You'll see the Arizona reps. There's Northern Arizona University, and that's in Flagstaff. Then you've got the Arizona State University. They do offer WUE, but not at Tempe. So they have 3 other campuses. And then at the University of Arizona, only 2 majors are offered under the WUE program, and that's something that Adrian mentioned. But reach out to those counselors, go to those. So those are the 3 public schools in Arizona. Do students with higher GPA get more WUE money, or is it a set amount? Adrian, how's it work at your school?
It's always 150%. WUE is only 150%. So if you have, depending on the school, but how you qualify for it, but it will always be that school's in-state tuition at 150%. So that's how WUE will work. Good question.
Yeah, at New Mexico, a student with 2.8 gets the 150%. And then a student with a 3.0 is lateral to the resident. So it saves them about another $3,000. And so that's called the WUE plus, the plus being additional money. On top of that, universities have that tuition rate and scholarships. Remember, there's institutional scholarship and there's the departmental scholarship. You may get engineering scholarship or business scholarship or bio scholarships, and you can bring outside scholarship. So definitely, and that's called stacking. And you can stack need-based aid with the FAFSA. You've got to do the FAFSA. The FAFSA will get you need-based aid at almost any college. I don't know anybody that doesn't get some FAFSA money. It may be a loan, but these are low cost, and you may qualify for grants. Right now, the new administration in Washington, D.C. is trying to increase the amount of grant aid and also increase the threshold, the need level. There's Central Place that has a list of, go to witchy.edu/WUE. I'll put that one in there. But when you go to witchy.edu/WUE, what I want you to do then is once you find a school that you like, make sure you reach out to that admission counselor, because this is I think we all know every website's always 100% true and accurate, never wrong. Maybe you want to check with the admission counselor at our schools. So go to witchy.edu/WUE or just Google search WUE, Western Undergraduate Exchange. How competitive is it to earn WUE scholarship if you meet the GPA? So no school has unlimited resources. Adrian addressed that with Wyoming.
Yeah, and I have to say it first. It really, like Gary was going to say, I mean, it depends on the institution. At Wyoming, it's our top tier scholarship, so you have to have a test score and a GPA, and if you fall in that gold area for us, you receive it. But there are some schools that limit the amount of WUE scholarships they give out. But again, when you ask that institution, they will be transparent with their process. We are not in the game of surprises because nobody likes to find that out in April when they're trying to decide on schools. So please ask the institution, but it really does depend. But at Wyoming, we'll show you that grid that I showed you. That is how you know what amount you're going to get.
Yeah, New Mexico, we have a priority deadline of February 1st. The last few years, we were able to go past that priority deadline. But folks, let's be honest here. It's October 20th right now. You could apply now and in 2 weeks, no, and not committed. If you want to wait till February, you're taking the chance, because guess what? If we were to get 20,000 applications and everybody qualified for WUE, there's only so much, and not just us, every school. So early bird gets the worm, or in this case, the dough to help them. And we'll certainly take more questions. We've got what, one more minute, 60 seconds? Wow, we're down to it. Tish is getting hungry. She says, Gary B, wrap it up. I've got to go eat.
Well, I want to thank Adrian and Gary B for joining us this evening. Poway is so lucky that you spent the time with us, and families, I hope you enjoyed the WUE presentation. I want to be mindful of time, not my dinner, but time, so that you can get to your next presentation. But please reach out with any questions, and have a wonderful evening.
Adrian, why don't you chat in your email, and I'll do the same thing just in case the folks need to reach out to us. Leave it on that note.
You two are fabulous. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you so much, everyone.
Adios, amigos. Gracias. Thanks for being here. Good job, Adrian. Thanks, Tish.
Great job,
Gary,
you
you're
two.
awesome.
On a scale of 1 to 10, you're a 14.
We need to meet in person, Gary. I just feel like I need to meet you. Zoom is just not enough for the Gary B show.
No, it is not. Well, Tish, thank you so much for tonight. This was wonderful. We really appreciate the opportunity to talk to your families. Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate you. Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy
Thanks,
Denver.
you too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.